This train, called the Skeena, starts its journey at Jasper in the Rockies. Passengers overnight in Prince George and then continue on to Prince Rupert. Following the route of the Skeena River, the train runs more than 1,000 kilometers westbound through the wilderness of British Columbia. It travels a remarkable route across BC's interior plateau, passing more sawmills than settlements. This is a world ruled by the forest industry. Evidence of early bridge building and native traditions have all left their imprint on the landscape. The Skeena follows ancient trails blazed by Aboriginals through narrow canyons, broad valleys, and past sculpted mountains on its journey to the Pacific. The president of the Grand Trunk Pacific Railroad, Charles Hayes, had an idea for Prince Rupert as a planned community at the end of the rail line. He and his vision went down with the Titanic in 1912. 2 years later, the rail line finally reached the coast. Prince Rupert was merely a new name for a site that had seen settlements for some 10,000 years, much of it on display at the Museum of Northern British Columbia.
Argillite is a stone found on the Queen Charlotte Islands on Haida Gwaii, carved by the Haida Nation, and it's a spectacular material that is found nowhere else in the world. Well, there's some very vivid imagery in terms of animal figures that are portrayed in the Northwest Coast art, and that stems from a very complicated hierarchical system that uses animals as crest figures.
Folks not happy with their line of work should check out how others fared in the late 19th century at the North Pacific Cannery.
We're trying to take the filling machines and the canning machines of a certain era of time and get them in somewhat of a working order that we can demonstrate the process of the canning of the fish, taking the fish, actually putting it in the can and sealing it.
You guys are great! Wow! Oh boy, I'm thinking you guys were right up with this machine here. This machine would go at 30 cans a minute.
Working here was tough. Living may have been worse.
This is what the First Nations people lived in. These little shacks. This is wonderful because it's brand new.
Right.
But this is what they had to live in. Look at those beautiful houses on the boardwalk. That was all managers. The Japanese houses were basically the same thing, but at the other end. You lived in your own town. This is the First Nations town. This is the white town. This is the Chinese town.
From Prince Rupert, a half hour by air over the coastal mountains, and you're in the grizzly bear sanctuary at Kutsumateen Valley, where salmon is on all the menus.
July, you'll get all the salmon runs that come up, and off the creek when we're at Mel's Creek, you'll see literally thousands of salmon all jumping out in front, and you'll see the seals attacking the salmon and the eagles catching them. So there's a lot that feeds off the salmon. They're pretty important.